She is a superstar representative from the 8th Congressional District of Arizona. I'm talking about Congresswoman Debbie Lesko. Hello.
Hello. Wow, you really applaud me too much.
Oh, listen,
Congresswoman. Thank you.
You know the deal. Like, I have the intro thing under control when it comes to radio. It's the rest of the show I haven't figured out yet. But I can do my intros. If it all came down to intros, we'd be at the biggest show of all time. Unfortunately, there's those other 2 hours and 59 minutes we need to figure out. But I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing excellent. I'm in Arizona. I'm not in Washington, D.C., so life is really good right now.
It's so funny. It's sad at the same time, but I know why you feel the way you do, having spent some swamp time myself recently. But even in Arizona, okay, we're dealing with a border situation right now. I try to make the case very simply. Okay, we talk about it on a political level, but as a functional level to the border, which is it's the front door to our house. We've left it wide open, and now we have a mess on our hands, specifically where you are in Arizona. And I don't think we should be framing this as like a Republican issue per se, because it's basically an issue for everybody, is it not?
It is an issue for everyone, including the illegal immigrants that are trying to cross the border.
Imagine that.
So, as you've said, I'm here in Arizona, and in the Tucson border sector, the Washington Post is putting out numbers predicting that border crossings will be the highest that they've been in 15 years in the month of July. And this is what's happening under the Biden administration policies. I mean, you just look at the numbers. So in June of 2020, when Trump was in office, the crossings were 33,000. Mm-hmm. In June of 2023, the crossings under President Biden were 145,000.
Oh, my goodness.
I think that's a huge difference. And I've gone down to the border multiple times, and they're telling me that these girls and young boys are getting raped. They're being sold into sex slavery. We just had a hearing in one of my committees with the Health and Human Services Secretary Becerra. They're not vetting the sponsors that they're sending these unaccompanied children to. So one house in Texas has 100 unaccompanied. I mean, this is outrageous. That's why I said it's not only hurting Americans, it's hurting the immigrants too. These policies are bad for both of us.
Yeah, that's, I think, the point we're trying to make. We're talking to Arizona Congresswoman Debbie Lesko, is that all of the problems we're encountering were preventable if we just left the policies in place that Biden inherited. So this is very much a situation, in my opinion, where the politics have taken precedence over the people, meaning Biden changed these policies because politically that's what the Democrats wanted, but in the process they made everybody less safe as a result.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And you think about all the drug trafficking that's happening, and in addition to the human trafficking. I mean, I went to Maricopa County medical examiner. I went on a tour there, which was kind of somber, but they said there's a 5,000% increase in fentanyl deaths in Maricopa County since 2015. 5,000% increase. I mean, they even had to, in Arizona, unfortunately, had to bring in more coolers for bodies because of the drug problems that are happening. And, of course, the Biden policies of having these open gaps in the borders and then basically having our Border Patrol officers act as travel agents, process all these people in, send them all over the country. I mean, like I said, it's hurting Americans, but it's also hurting the illegal immigrants because even the New York Times said these kids are doing full-time jobs against child labor laws to pay off not only the cartel members, but the sponsors where our government is sending them without vetting them.
Yeah, that's terrible. And, you know, when the New York Times is writing it, because they don't get out of bed, as you know, looking to call shenanigans on a Democrat presidency. But you have to. I mean, any objective observer has to realize they're failing all of us, not just the Republicans. But let me talk about this since we brought up politics to begin with. The prosecution of Donald Trump, does it feel politically motivated to you?
Well, absolutely, it's politically motivated. I mean, there's when you cover up a story with Hunter Biden, and then you don't assign a special prosecutor to Hunter Biden, but you continue to go after President Trump. It's political. And I read all the indictments, including this last one. And the last one, I don't know how they're going to prove it. I mean, the special counsel just keeps on repeating that Donald Trump knowingly claimed false election fraud. Mm-hmm. And how are they going to prove he knowingly believed that there was no election fraud, but he said it anyway? Yeah. Well, in the indictment, the way that Jack Smith, his special counsel, tries to say that, well, Trump knew that there was no election fraud and he spread the lies anyway, was he just lifts off some people that said there was no evidence of election fraud and told that to President Trump. But the problem with that is that other people, including Trump's own attorneys, said there was evidence of election fraud. So I don't know how they prove that. And, and it was very biased, don't you think? I mean, when the special counsel, Jack Smith, says, quote, Trump enlisted co-conspirators to assist him in his criminal efforts to overturn the legitimate results of the 2020 presidential election and retain power, unquote. Well, guess who those enlisted co-conspirators were? Mm-hmm. Trump's lawyers. Yep. Since when is it against the law to hire lawyers to help you in what you believe in?
No, it's
I don't know. The whole thing seems terribly political to me, and it's a sad day. It's a sad day in our country when it comes down to this.
Yeah, it's not good. We're talking to Arizona Congresswoman Debbie Lesko, who is back in Arizona, where you should be. I mean, man, oh boy, we appreciate you representing us in Washington, but don't you feel like we should go back to Zoom work, if only so you didn't have to hang out in that town?
Well, what I wish is that I love my job, but I wish that the United States Capitol was in Arizona. Then my life would be really good.
Oh,
Unfortunately, all the other members probably wouldn't like that. But yeah, no, Washington, D.C., I go there and I feel like there's a spiritual darkness in that place. And there's people that are corrupt. I mean, agencies don't tell us things. They lie. It is a swamp. It is a total swamp.
I know.
And when I get back home with normal people, I'm always happy.
Yeah, I'll take that. Listen, I know how you feel, except home for me, there's still anyone normal because I'm in New York. And man, oh boy, oh man, anyone who doesn't think we have life on other planets has never walked around New York City.
I appreciate New York. New Yorkers have, especially New York City, people have a fighting attitude. So I have learned to appreciate them.
Yeah.
And they fight like heck, and I love it.
Yeah, well, everyone except our baseball teams, Congresswoman. If the baseball teams, if they could fight as hard as the pedestrians, we might have a much better mood around town right now, is all I'm saying.
Well, that's true.
Thank you. Well, I always love talking to you. Keep playing good ball out there, okay?
All right, will do. I'll keep up the fight.
You better. We're counting on you. There she goes, the great Congresswoman Debbie Lesko from the 8th Congressional District of Arizona.